will talk a little bit about what we're doing at USP and how we're developing that. So it'll be focusing around this centre that we've set up now called the Teachers Educational Resources and E-Learning Centre. So that's quite a mouthful. So we call it TEREC for short. And I'm the director of TEREC, and Shika Raturi, who's a lecturer at USP and School of Education, is an assistant director with me, so we work together closely to run the centre. So just a little bit of background. I think VC mentioned that at the last FEdMM meeting, the ministers approved the ICT for Education framework, and one of the outcomes from that meeting was also for USP to set up this centre. And I think there was a call from the ministers to say, please help us a little bit in this area. So I think that's the rationale behind setting up the centre, and the centre is to support ministries of education in their development of e-learning, or ICT in education, whatever you call that. So we are an outreach function, although we're centred in the university, we are there to help ministries of education. We also do a little bit of work within the university as well, because they're doing a lot of interesting work, so we try and share things there as well. Quite clearly what we're doing aligns with USP's strategic plan, and it also aligns with the ICT framework that's been developed for the centre, for the region as well. So we're well structured in all of the strategic directions that we're going on. What we're focusing on in the centre is the themes out of the ICT framework that was passed at the last FEdMM. So we're looking at policy development, we're looking at capacity development, capacity building, we're looking at OERs, and as a spin-off from OERs about Pacific content. So they're the areas that we're focusing on. It's not all that we do, but they're the key drivers of what we're doing. So after we set up the e-learning centre, we also added to that a smart classroom. So that was added late last year and is just in the early stages of opening up now, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that. The smart classroom is a demonstration and training facility for new technologies and new pedagogies. So in this smart classroom, we've set it up as a flexible learning environment so that teachers and trainee teachers can come in and try out these new pedagogies, try out these new technologies. So we'll have a little bit of a look at that in a minute. But if this works properly, I'll show you quite a little... Can you hear that?
Also by Teachers Educational Resources and E-Learning Center, I learned about open educational resource where I know how to extract information from the OER and also making sure that I acknowledge the author. I would now use this knowledge to prepare my lesson in school, even my own learning purposes.
Sorry about the awkwardness there, but the bit that you missed is he's a Bachelor of Education student at USP, learning to be a secondary school teacher. And one of our policies is that all Bachelor of Education students spend at least a couple of hours every term, so every semester, in the centre looking at these technologies and pedagogies. So this is the centre, and on the left-hand side there's a few people here that have been around for a few years now. You might recognise this as the Pride building. So at the end of the Pride project, we've taken that Pride building now and turned it into the TEREC Centre. So those of you who have been to Pride, you know where to go now. The photo on the left there is at the graduation of training teachers in using OLPC. There's an OLPC project running in Fiji, and we've trained, in the centre we've trained about nearly 100 teachers now, but those teachers have gone on and trained other teachers. So in Fiji now we have over 300 trained teachers in how to teach with the OLPC. So that's one of the functions that we do at the TEREC Centre, is we train teachers. This is the e-learning centre, so in the Pride building it's the upstairs part, and that hasn't changed very much. You can see the computers and things there. The people that are there now, they're Bachelor of Education students that come in there and use the facilities and share with each other and with us as well. You can see at the far end there's an interactive whiteboard as well, so we use that for presentation material to demonstrate how to use interactive whiteboards as well. I mentioned the smart classroom, so those that have been to the conference room in the Pride, down the bottom there was a big conference room down there, so we've converted that into the smart classroom, so this looks a little bit different now. On the left-hand photo, we're demonstrating an interactive teaching technology called clickers. I don't even know about those clickers. So what's happening there is on the interactive whiteboard there's a PowerPoint presentation with a series of questions in there. And as the question flashes up, then the students respond by clicking A, B, C or D. And the interesting thing is about not just using it just to see which students know what answers, but good use of this technology is actually stimulates debate. So we train teachers in how to use this technology to get children to work through issues. And an example might be you could put a series of questions up there, they vote, but you don't show them the answer of the vote. Then you say, now we want you to spend 10 minutes discussing this, and then they vote again. And then you can compare the two different votes, and you can see what happened between the two. So it's a technology that can be used in a way of stimulating collaborative learning. And we'd much rather talk about that sort of use rather than saying, well, Johnny got that answer wrong, we better give him some remedial work. So there's different ways to use those technologies. You'll see there's some tablets there as well, so we've got a variety of different technologies. In the background there, behind the Dean's head, you can see a green wall. So there's a separate room behind there, and in this room we've got a video conference facility. Sorry, it's not video conference, sorry, a video production room. So we're able to actually teach teachers how to make their own e-resources. So we'll teach them in training how to compile a digital video, for example, how to do good practice there, how to edit the video, how to put that online, how to share that with the students. So that's another part of the facility there. On the right-hand side, it's the same room, but looking back where the photo was taken from the first time. On the wall there, you can see a touch TV screen. So that's just a touch screen. But what's happening there is that the tablets you see on the table there are connected wirelessly to that screen. So you're able to do collaborative work there where the students are able to do their work on their tablet and then project that up onto the screen. And it's also possible for the teacher, for example, to have a tablet and then to take over the whole screen and then to show what the material that the teacher has there as well. So it's just a way of collaborating together there using different technologies. You can see in the back left-hand corner there's a laptop there, we've got a netbook there, we've got some tablets there, we've got some smartphones there. So the idea is that we can experience all different types of technologies. So we're trying to be flexible there. And so going back to the photo on the left there, the interactive whiteboard is also a video conferencing centre. So it's a video camera up there, it's got speakers in there and mics out in the area. And you can see the tables are not anchored, they're not fixed anywhere, so we're able to configure it depending on the needs of the students and the needs of the teachers. So the teacher might get 10 children working on a task over there, so they drag the tables together and start working on the task. They might have one table over here where the remedial people are, so they can spend more time with the remedial people. So just a very flexible arrangement there. You might have seen there was an interactive table. This is a device that we've purchased to learn a little bit about children learning collaboratively with technology. So this is a drag and drop thing. You see on CSI, where they drag and drop and they throw it up on the wall and do all that madness. It's not quite like that. It stays on the screen. On the left-hand side, we've got a bunch of kids that came in and getting really excited about that. The circle shows a range of applications that you can activate. So you can touch on those and activate them, and then you can set it up so between 2, 4 or 6 people can collaborate together. And you can see the VC there, he's doing a drag and drop operation on an application about synonyms. So the application is that it gives you these dominoes with words on them, and you have to connect them together. So you have to connect them with like words. So the end word on this domino must be a synonym with the joining domino. And it's got a timing function in there as well, so you can time and you can drag and drop and work through. Just one example. Another one that I really like in there is a storytelling facility. So it helps you create a story through looking at one person is working on the characters, another person is working on the plot, another one is working on the conclusion, another one's working on the introduction. So they work on these independently and then they bring it together and compile a story. So we're just experimenting. I'm not recommending that you all rush out and buy these. They're quite expensive, but I think there's some very interesting stuff to learn there about using technology for collaborative learning. A couple of other things that we've got in the centre now. These are resources that we've got available, and it's a very fortunate thing today because we're actually launching the first one of them, which is Pearls. And PEARL stands for Pacific E-Learning Aids and Resources for Libraries. Very appropriate in the Cook Islands because they are a great producer of pearls, which I intend to buy before I go back to my life. We have a contract to distribute 1,000 of these DVDs. Now, actually in the DVD, there are 2 DVDs. And I'll just talk a little bit about that. The first one is called Pearls. This is a collection of Pacific Island documents that have been published by various crop agencies over the years. So, for example, from SPCs, from SPRED, SPBEA, we've gone around and collected all of those and put them onto this DVD. So we've got over 500 documents. And the purpose was to say, let's collect all of the Pacific Island content that we can and put it into one place. So in here, we've got information, for example, about agriculture in the Pacific Islands. We've got information about animals in the Pacific Island, information about health in the Pacific Island, healthy foods, information about Pacific Island diseases, climate change. It's a whole range of different documents in there that have been produced, which are valuable resources for students to be able to locate and use as reference material. It could be good for teachers as well. It may be very interesting for parents. So, for example, SPC have published a series of documents called Paravet. I don't know if you know about Paravet. It's an introduction, it's a training program to give not professional vets, but people working with animals some understanding about it. And it focuses on Pacific Island animals. So there's a course actually there that's run. All of it's documented in here. Teaches you how to look after pigs, for example. What can go wrong with pigs? What diseases do they get? How do you treat those diseases? At what stage should you do the castration? What stage should you do this? So it's a very complex set of documents. There's some videos in here, for example, on Kiribati, when Kiribati were doing their videos about climate change and affecting it. So there's some really good footage in here showing about what can happen about climate change. It's a whole range of different devices, different resources. So, and it's searchable database. So when you load it onto a computer, you can go searching by topic, by metadata if you like, or by words. So you can search either way. So if you go searching for Kiribati, it'll come up with those videos. If you go into the climate change topic, you'll end up in the same place as well. So that's the Pearls DVD. We've also included a Wikipedia DVD in there as well. Now this is simple English Wikipedia. So it's not the Wikipedia you see online, because I think a lot of kids have trouble with those big words. So there's a version of Wikipedia that's called Simple English. We've loaded that on there so that you can load this into your computer now and you can use that as a resource. The thing that I'm really excited about that is that it's a tremendous way for kids to start developing information literacy skills. Because in Wikipedia you search for things and you click on links and you click on links and you find things you research, and then you use that research to come back to produce some outcome. So I think some very interesting ways of starting to learn information literacy and digital literacy using these. Because they're DVDs, it's all offline. So you don't need to have internet access or anything like that. You have to load some software on your computer to get these to work, so there's instructions in here about how to do that as well. On the table up the back there was enough copies for everyone to take one. Okay? If you can't get one, come and see me and we'll see what we can do. We've had to hold some back for the ministers because we felt that the ministers might like to have these as well, but we will have these orderable, and in the instructions here it tells you how to go about ordering that, but if you send an email to me, we will send you some DVDs. Another thing that we're doing now is working with UNESCO, and for those of you who are in the know, UNESCO Bangkok have got a huge ICT and education section, and they're doing some really fantastic stuff. UNESCO, in Bangkok, they do a lot of work in Asia, but not so much in the Pacific, because they find it hard to engage every individual island. So we've stepped forward and become the Pacific Island Centre for the Resources and Distribution Technology Centre as part of the UNESCO Asia Pacific Initiative. And in there, oh, are you giving me the... I'm not even started yet. So at the back you'll also see a range of DVDs here. So there's things in here like free software for educators, multimedia resources, web tools for educators, collection of e-learning tools recommended for learners between the ages of 3 and 13, collection of e-learning tools, directory of ICT resources, and UNESCO e-learning series. Again, they're up on the back there. You can grab a copy of those. If you don't get one, send me an email. We'll send some more out to you. Oh. Okay. The other one that I was going to talk about is the Pacific Education Portal. So, there is a lot of resources available out there, and it's very confusing to try and find them. Even I get stuck trying to find things now. If I go to the UNESCO portal, I can't find anything. Sorry, I didn't say that. So what we're trying to do is to bring that together in a portal for the Pacific Islands. And we want to have a portal there that will help Pacific Island teachers in this area. I'll just go to that. I was going to be smart and do an online version of this, but I'm not connected to the internet, so this is just a screenshot. This is the preliminary release of the portal. So we've got three key parts. One is where you're able to find information, find resources, download course materials and things like that. We've got a sharing thing there so that you can say, if I found a really good resource that I want to share, I can pop it back in there. Or you can share experiences, and then we've got a connecting area there so that all Pacific Island educators can come together here and talk about e-learning and how they're going and what they're doing. This is modelled a little bit on the New Zealand TKI site, Tiketi Ikurangi. It's a long way from there, but our aspiration is to move down that path. We're doing some work in policy development, I mentioned earlier. We know that there's very few policies in Ministries of Education, very few policies about ICT in education. There's a few, but there's not very many. So we've been working with COL and with UNESCO and doing our own research and things and looking at ways that we can help there. We have now developed a good practice template of an ICT in education policy. And we're already working with Vanuatu, Samoa and Fiji to say how can we adapt this template to work in your environment as a policy document, and we will soon start working with Tuvalu and Kiribati as well. So this is another resource that we have that will help you develop policies in this area if that's the issue that you need to address. We do have a research interest as well, and we're very interested in looking at the impact of OLPC. So we've gathered together a lot of anecdotal evidence about that, but we don't have any really empirical research. So we're actually going to start some empirical research there. Just one thing that I was really taken by from the training and the experience in Fiji is that several of the teachers came back to me afterwards and said, you know, Ian, there are students that we had categorised as slow learners, and I know everybody does that. So when they get on the laptop, they're really amazing. You know, they're fast learners. They're really charging ahead. So the interesting question is, why is that so? And I just think it's really interesting to think about how the technology may be adapted to suit the Pacific way of learning. I think there's something really interesting to look at there. So we'll be doing some more research on that. Am I done now? Do I have to really stop? I have.
Yeah, we've got to do the discussion. We'll run out of time.
Okay, so
But people over break could chat to you more about that.
Sure.
So
Yep. Yeah, indeed we can. Yeah. So just one word, if I can say, about professional development for teachers. Everybody's focused on that, so it's a very key issue, and of course we're quite involved in that. We'd like to do tailorised professional development for you if you wish. For example, for the CDU unit, or the school principals, or the leaders, or train your trainers. For example, if you've got an education college, they need to have some training about how to do training for ICTs. So we look at a range of different programs that we can put together there. So the status of OLPC in the region is that we've got 5 projects that I would say are substantial. So the big rush of OLPC projects that we did in the early days, pretty much they've all failed. We've learned a lot from that, and we're redeveloping that approach now. The most recent one is in Fiji, where the Ministry has signed off on a plan over 5 years for every child in the primary sector to have a laptop. The initial implementation is starting off with a computer room where the OLPCs are, and the classes cycle into that. But over time they intend to deploy that more and more into the area. We're getting some really interesting feedback on how that's going, and Fiji is very, very committed to that. I wanted to talk about globally because OLPC, you know about this thing, the little green laptop. This is now version 4. It has a touch screen on it. It's much faster, it uses less power, it's got more memory, all that sort of stuff that you normally get anyway. But I wanted to say that it's getting harder and harder to buy these now. And this is because the production line only gets set up 2 or 3 times a year. They don't have enough volume to keep it running all the time. So if you order now, you're probably going to have to wait 4 or 5 months before you get one. And I think the VC's comment is quite relevant here to say, is this the right technology for us? And I think OLPC organisation itself has moved on from this technology as well. So they've released a netbook now. A notebook now? No, it's a tablet, sorry. A tablet, sorry. But there are other tablets and things like that. The advice that we're giving countries now is to say, we really need to be device agnostic. Right? So it doesn't matter what device you have, it will still work with the solution that we have. And the 2 key components are, it has to have Wi-Fi, it has to have a browser. If you've got Wi-Fi and a browser, you can do everything. So anything that we're producing now is sort of focusing on that approach to say it doesn't matter what you do in terms of the device. I think there are some devices that work well in the region, and I think there are some devices that don't work well in the region, and we can give advice about that as well. Okay, is that 3 minutes?
That's fantastic. I'm sure people will ask you some questions about that, Ian. I'd like to thank all the presenters for your presentations, and now open the floor to questions and discussions.